Hello everyone, and welcome to our Belgian Villains channel. Today we'll be giving you our commentary on the Aston Villa vs Crystal Palace match, which was played on Saturday the 30th of August. Aston Villa hosted Crystal Palace for this third round of the season. They had a real obligation to win if they wanted to properly get their campaign underway, as they still hadn't scored since the start of the season. This victory was therefore crucial, as they had only managed to collect a single point from their first two matches, which isn't much at all. The match began with the first 10 minutes of the opening phase under Aston Villa's control. They had very attacking possession, playing both intelligently and at a high tempo, something we hadn't really seen from them in the first two games of the season. They managed to create chances, particularly from corners, with two headers from Youri Tielemans, but neither found the target, both flying over the bar. But despite that, Crystal Palace still managed to win back a few balls, one of which led to a penalty. They played a cross-field pass that was impossible for our defenders to intercept. Kamada then found himself one-on-one with Marco Bizot, who had come off his line to try and claim the ball. But Kamada, very agile, cut inside to the right. Marco Bizot, trying to prevent a goal, slid in and brought him down. He was shown a yellow card, and the referee pointed to the spot. You could say it was unlucky for Aston Villa, as they had started the match really well, and now suddenly had to face a penalty. The penalty, taken by Jean-Philippe Mateta, went in as Marco Bizot dived the wrong way. It was 1-0 to Crystal Palace. After Jean-Philippe Mateta's penalty, Aston Villa tried to create a few chances, but without success, with one shot from Evan Gesson directly blocked by Anderson. After that, though, Crystal Palace began to take control of the game, playing very calmly, as Aston Villa weren't pressing and showed no intensity in their attacks. This allowed Palace to keep their shape and eventually win the ball back. Then came a moment when the ball reached Ollie Watkins, who found himself one-on-one with the keeper, despite pressure from defenders chasing him. He struck the ball, but Anderson denied him. You could say it was very nearly a goal just before half-time, something that could have given Villa a valuable boost going into the rest of the match. So both teams went into the break with the score at 0-1 to Crystal Palace. Aston Villa had been dominated for almost the whole of the first half. The second half began and they still couldn't find the net, though they produced a lot of long-range efforts and came very close to scoring. A real pity, you might say. Tielemans tried a shot from distance, but unfortunately it was stopped by the Palace keeper. Matty Cash also had a couple of long-range attempts, though they failed to hit the target. Aston Villa had, in a sense, rediscovered their game, playing again as they had in those opening 10 minutes when the two sides first went head-to-head. At that point, it really looked as though Aston Villa were about to score an equaliser, and maybe even a second goal to go on and win the match. But then a Crystal Palace attack completely turned things around. The ball fell to Ezri Konsa, but he played a very poor pass, which was intercepted by Marc Guéhi. He then struck a curling shot with his right foot, one that Marco Bizot had no chance of stopping. A magnificent goal, yes, but also one born out of bad luck, and above all, a lack of professionalism from Ezri Konsa. Yet, even with victory already almost guaranteed for Palace, a long throw-in into Marco Bizot's box changed the game once again. First flicked on by an Aston Villa defender, the ball bounced in the area and dropped right where Ismaila Sarr was left completely unmarked to head it home. Remarkably, he was already carrying an injury and had been signalling several times to his coach for a substitution, but still managed to score late in the game, the final blow for Villa, confirming what has been a very poor start to the season and showing that changes are clearly needed in the squad. Despite his goal, Sarr had to come off around the 85th minute as he could no longer continue due to injury. But Crystal Palace had already used all their substitutions, so they had to finish the match with 10 men. Even so, Aston Villa still couldn't keep the ball, looking completely lost right until the final whistle. It's obvious that something has to change. We just hope to see Villa at least get their first goal of the season in the fourth round. Right now, it looks like this campaign won't be a good one, though perhaps some late signings in the transfer window could make a difference. Aside from that, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon.